Oh, it feels weird. Hello. Felt like I haven't done this in a little while. Um, Hi, it's Vlad. Um, I'm back. I feel better. Um, Been weird. Um, but I feel like I needed it. I kind of thought I didn't, because I remember talking to myself like I needed a week to kind of like just regroup and then Roar was like, no, like just keep doing it. And at first I was like, you know what, like yeah, like because it was mostly about like all the Ashes stuff, but then there was like this whole other layer that was like unraveling and unfolding in my personal life, and that was sort of like getting too much all at once. So I think regardless, the universe just wanted me to take a break, regroup, uh re restructure shit in my head. Um Wardy, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well, man. So yeah, this is I've honestly been watching, you know, uh Vinland and his streams and stuff like that. And Graven, what's going on, brother? I am feeling better. I am feeling better. Video games, what's going on, brother? Good to see you too, dude. Um, and the whole live stream that he was doing, like I was going through, I wanted to see the talent tree again because the talent tree just looks so freaking crazy. Like every time I look at the talent tree, I'm just like, um, oh my God, I just see how crazy like all this is. Like, and like some of this might be like little points of like whatever, right? But then it's like I see the squares, right? I see these diamonds. I see these locks, and I'm like, what are these? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm very curious. Like, my one thing with like talent trees, especially in something like this, is I think of, whether it's like base intellect increases, base stamina increases, whatever, right? Like, those are fine. But then I think of like the class that I chose and passives that could potentially alter like my class, and then talents that can potentially alter my abilities, right? And having that kind of mix match of like all these different ways of like, because like in Path of Exile there's a lot of stuff within like each of the branches of the trees that allow you to do some really interesting mechanics, and I think it's just interesting to see. Tolerus, do you thank you so much for the sub, brother? Thank you. Hope you're enjoying the stream, man. Basin, man, what's going on, dude? Um, so I don't know. For me, as like a person who really loves uh this kind of stuff, like I am very, very, very excited about this. Um Now I also wanted to talk because my buddy Royer actually made a video today that I haven't watched, and I wanted to see his particular um yes, I did watch his gameplay thing. Like I think again, I like the way it looks, and the crazy part about it is like this is the shittiest it's gonna look. You know what I'm saying? Like it looked worse 2 years ago, apparently in 2023 or 3 years ago. Um, but I don't mind it. I mean, again, I play WoW. I've played WoW for a long time. I was like, these graphically, I mean, even where it's at now, like I wouldn't mind playing this. Yeah, I'll play it right now looking like that. Yeah, me too. Like I don't let me know what's going on, brother. But yeah, no, I watched his stream. You know what I mean? Like I think I loved there was a lot of points, especially in the beginning when he was doing the gameplay of like showing the keyboard, showing the responsiveness of abilities of the movement. And I think, what's crazy to me is like, how Vinland was Here, I don't want to like block my boy out, but I mean how unsatisfied, it's like he sees where his devs have done, and he's like, but I know my devs can do better. And that to me was just like, wow, okay, cool. Like, I love his enthusiasm. Yeah, I mean, me too. Like, I think, and the one thing, because I had this discussion today with uh one of my peeps in my Discord, and my thing is that, like, people are at this point where it's like, I don't want to fall for a scam. Well, the realistic part of it is that if it is a free to play game, you don't have to risk anything monetarily. The only thing you'll ever be scammed by is your time. You know what I mean? Like, and let me just be honest for myself, in my opinion, in this time, the 6 years that I spent in Ashes of Creation, I don't feel scammed of my time. I met my guild. I met a lot of really good people, you know what I mean, that I still talk to this day. Like, I have no regrets, like, at all. Like, do I honestly regret backing Ashes of Creation? To an extent, but the thing was that the money that I was putting towards it was actually being built to make the game. Like, we had a game. And with Scars of Honor, I don't have to put any money towards it. There's already a game there. I won't need to pay anything for the demo. I won't need to pay anything for early access in Steam. I won't need to pay anything at launch. You know what I mean? And Tommy Khan, thank you so much for the sub, brother. Thank you, man. Very much appreciate that. Basin, dude. You're so stupid. So each class has its own talent tree. Yes, every single class like has its own talent tree. My only concern is that the game will become a queue simulator. I mean, look, if it's going to be a WoW clone, and World of Warcraft right now is literally kind of like a lobby game right now, like if you're talking about retail, and I've played that kind of version of a game forever, and my thing is that, like, the way Vinland talks about the importance of the open world and like belonging in the open world and that feeling of like chilling in the open world, like, I'll have to just see it to believe it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's going to have to be systems and things to actually make the world feel important, because if what's really important is just the dungeons and raids, just like in World of Warcraft, then the world doesn't really feel too important. The world just feels like a side note to the dungeons and raids. And I think that's where Scars of Honor really would have to differentiate itself from being a WoW clone by putting more importance in the open world, right? And I think that's going to be a very hard thing to deliver. How would the PvP be bad? Many games have arena open world. I'm still going to hold my breath, mainly because I think the way they were handling PvP is bad. Too much separation of player population. Look, when it comes to, again, World of Warcraft, I think World of Warcraft has handled PvP very terribly, because World of Warcraft can't usually, like, what's the word? Focus on PvP. Like, PvP's just never really been their bread and butter. Their bread and butter is raiding and dungeons and the PvE scene. And I feel like Blizzard has always treated PvP as this like redheaded stepchild, second citizen, kind of mentality, right? And so I think it's going to be very interesting to see like what Scars of Honor does in the realms of PvP, to see the importance of open world PvP, to see other systems in the open world that are regarding with PvP. Because, I mean, again, I understand that there's a lot of, people coming from Ashes of Creation that are giving feedback to sort of like alter Scars into like Ashes of Creation light, right? And I don't really want to do that. I mean, again, I think what I want to see from Vinland, and from the Scars team is like, what do they want to do, right? Because they had such a, I think a very fair MMO paper design, for the thing they wanted to put out. But, I've always said, Ashes of Creation was way too fucking ambitious. Like it was fucking insane. Like that's why I always said it was just going to take years to pull this off, because it was just so massive. And with Scars, it's not. It's really not. And I think when it comes to its deliverables, like I honestly think like we could actually see the launch of Scars next year. Like I'm not even memeing. I think we can see Scars launch next year. I think we can see early access launch this year. You know, and I think if I'm not mistaken, Roar, didn't we get confirmation that early access was actually this year in third quarter? Like at some time, unless it gets delayed. But I mean, depending if third quarter. So if we get a really good demo, right? And I don't know how long the demo is going to be playable. The demo could only be playable for a certain amount of time and then go offline, which I hope to God it. That's, bro, coming from Ashes of Creation, I don't want persistence. I don't want 24/7 persistence. Like I think that was such a bad call. But you know, it is what it is. I remember coming to your channel and said Ashes of Creation is a rug pull scam before it even happened. Go to my chat history while you defended you calling me a hater. How do you feel now? I feel the same. Like I don't think anyone could have called it being a scam, and people that like to claim it was a scam back then, you know, ultimately just took a coin toss. Like in my opinion, that's my take. Do I feel scammed? Not really. I played a game for about a year. I met a lot of great people within that time, within my whole Ashes of Creation thing. So I don't really feel bad or like, oh, you know, like it sucks we don't have Ashes of Creation. It sucks really what happened to the developers. I mean, really for me, I was only out like a couple $100. The developers, like there's literal livelihoods that got completely messed up. And that to me is like the greatest tragedy of everything right now is really the developers. So that's just me. Eventually people that scream the world's going to end will be right. It doesn't mean we have to listen to their room right now. That's true. Am I happy being part of the scam, trying to get people to give their money to scammers? Brother, if you legitimately watched me, Ferris, when did I ever ban or when did I ever tell people to buy the game? If you were watching my stream religiously, you would know that anytime people ask me, should I get early access? I would tell them no. I would literally tell them to save their money. There have been people that actually whispered me and messaged me on Discord thanking me that I did not purchase Ashes of Creation. Elder, dude, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Good to see you. Let me see. You promoted it and you were part of Steven's content creator program. Of course I promoted it. I promoted it for like 5 years. Guess who else promoted it? Narc. He promoted it too. So I don't know. Like, I don't know what to tell you, brother. Let me see. Classic Plus, Scars of Honor, Right MMORPG, reading good soon. I hope so. I mean, like if we get the demo in March, or even sometime early April, that'd be pretty freaking awesome. But I mean, honestly, looking at the potential here of like the talent trees, I'm just really excited to see like this come to life, because dear Jesus, this to me is perfection slog or whatever from The Office. Like I think this could actually be one of the coolest things. My boy Quartarian Slurp, dude, what's going on, brother? I hope you're doing well, man. And Slurp knows this because I always express to him about like talent trees and like class design. Like this is like my calling right here. Like this whole tree, my God, just it looks so good. I mean, as someone who's like super excited about like an MMO adopting like a Path of Exile talent tree, like this is just amazing. Like I really want to see like, because I know how hard this must be. And for the fact that there will be 10 classes with all in like, this isn't with Path of Exile's tree looks so massive because it literally condenses every class into a mega talent tree. So when you look at the Path of Exile talent tree, it's literally like all the classes, like you can literally branch out. And like, if you ever played Final Fantasy 10, the sphere grid has all the characters within the sphere grid. But this particular talent tree is almost like 300 nodes or 270 plus nodes for just this one class. There's no other classes represented like in this tree, which is like really amazing. Let me see. I agree. Been playing PoE for a hot bit, and given the options, it would be it could actually. And this is why, like, I really want to stress, like, what I want to see from this. Like, I want to see like small changes to abilities. I want to see mega changes to abilities, but I also want to see changes to the class, almost like a set bonus of like World of Warcraft, or even like a tier set bonus from a raid set. How like you know, how can I put it? Like for a warrior, right? In World of Warcraft, like a set bonus could give you, you now have 20 extra rage, and you produce, 5 rage extra for each crit that happens, on your attacks or something like that. Like stuff like that. Like I love shit like that. And it's like, or, let's say it's just a like a modifier to base bleeds, right? Or something like that. Like, so it's something that's more overarching, like more overall impactful, that I think could actually be like just fucking amazing. I love how they removed the old class specializations to create this customization. I didn't even know about that until I looked it up like in 2023. So they were originally going to have like, again, the true WoW, which was like specializations, right? But I love this like so much better. I think this is like really fucking good. Hey Vlad, we're talking about the cartoon game Epitome MMO with AI, 2 months from AI. No. We're talking about Scars of Honor, which Scars of Honor is going to be a free to play game on Steam. The demo that you can play in the spring will be free. Early access will be free, and the launch will be free. There will be nothing you have to pay if you're completely skeptical about it. There's nothing you have to do to do that. So all I will say, so look, Ferris, you're going to be the second person. Like if you're not going to calm down and you're here to like gotcha me, I'm trying to give you a chance. If you actually want to talk about Scars, I'm giving you this chance. If you want to try to promote to my chat about Scars being a scam game, you will be the second person I'll ever actually ban on my channel. I've only banned one person, one. But if you want to like keep doing this and keep going, I mean, you'll just be gone. But I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm trying to allow you to come in the conversation. But if you want to keep going, I mean, we'll make it out like this, bro, your chat is being aggressive towards me and you don't attack them. Bro, you came at me first. They're literally defending me. And you keep mentioning, scam, Ashes, like, bro, we're all over this. Like, we're literally moving on and you're still stuck in the past. So I'm trying to give you an opportunity here, And the reason why they're coming after you is because you won't change. You won't change your tune. You want to talk, let's talk Scars. Let's talk the talent trees. And I can guarantee you my chat will not come after you. But if you want to keep, going on with, Ashes, scam, all this other stuff, like you'll just be banned, man. Like, I don't want to do that, but I will. So yes, specializations. I am so glad they got rid of them. I'm so glad they changed it to this, because this to me, and if Scars could be an example, because I remember people always saying to me, Vlad, you'll never ever get these huge talent trees on MMOs because it's an MMO. Like, yes, you can get them in ARPG because it's more closed off. ARPGs, you don't really need to balance around other classes, really. I mean, everything's kind of like standalone. And I'm like, but I feel like it could actually happen. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if someone actually put the work and effort into it, someone could do it eventually. And the fact that the fact that we actually found someone, you know, the freaking Beast Burst team to do this is just fucking amazing to me. It really is. Like, it's just amazing. So let me see, in your opinion, isn't that a red flag? All free, no box cost, no sub cost. How will they make money? The thing is that they're going to make money from cosmetics. I believe Vinland did talk about maybe having an optional subscription model. Maybe anything that could be $5, $10, or $15 a month. There will potentially might be pay to convenience, which I know is always like another hot topic, right? I mean, this is something that he talked about during the live stream about bag space. You know, in his bag space, pay to win. And 76% people said that no, it's not. And only, what was it, 23% said, you know, yes, it was. So, you know, and Vinland also did talk about, you know, how much money they're going to be saving with their server architecture software. Because most of the time when you have to, you know, of course, get, you know, your AGS servers, right, to host your, you know, all the different servers you're going to have for your game, usually AGS gives you like the actual hardware, or not the actual hardware, but like access to their hardware and their software, right? But Vinland's not going to take their software. He has his own proprietary software they're going to use. And the software is really where AGS charges you a shit ton of money. The hardware part, and I think he said it's only like 30 cents a user or something really cheap. So it's not as expensive as you would think to host like a big, you know, MMORPG. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, that's kind of my thing. Let me see, a red flag for whom? If the game is 100% free, you'll try and quit it. If it's not for you, there's literally no risk. Well, I think what Galax is trying to say is like, you don't consider it a red flag to think that, you know, it just seems like you don't have to pay any money and we're just going to be around. You know what I mean? Like every startup company, every company that has not came out with a game needs to make money. But, you know, as Vinland talked about with Path of Exile, you know, Path of Exile came on the scene and literally, you know, there was no other game that Grinding Gear Games did before Path of Exile. They came with Path of Exile completely free. And literally, like, there's like millions of people now that play Path of Exile. But at the time that people tried Path of Exile, I think, was it back in 2012? I think they had like maybe 100,000 people playing. So if you have a good pay model of like cosmetics, pay to convenience, you know, maybe an optional sub, I think Scars can do okay. You know what I mean? Like, we'll just see what happens. You know what I mean? And I think that's the point of us being here and providing that critical feedback to them, right? Like, that's the whole point. I do question if depth in mechanics is fully achievable when a mobile port is the goal. Well, I think when it comes to mobile, in my opinion, I believe mobile should give you a portion of the game, not you playing the game legitimately. Does that make sense? Like, I think like if you want to, like, first of all, if you're going to be on Scars of Honor, right, you're probably only going to be on the PvE shard on mobile. You're probably not going to be able to do much combat probably. And the thing is that I think going around doing life skills, right, like chopping trees, hitting mining nodes, like on your phone, that to me seems pretty legit, right? Yes. Gather, fish, craft. Exactly. Like, I think that's where mobile could shine. I wouldn't want you to be able to do dungeons and raids on your phone. I think that's stupid. And I think it's just like the scope of Scars of Honor being pretty small, right? Like, they're not trying to do this crazy ambitious MMORPG. I think their scope for their mobile should also be small. Just offer like functionality to like check the mail, right? You know, get mail from your mailbox. Oh, I got some gold today, or hey, like someone sent me a piece of gear, or, you know, whatever the case is. Like, stuff like that you can do on your phone. Life skilling you can do on your phone, like basic stuff, you know. But that's what I would suggest. Like, I don't know how hard they want to go into the mobile side of things, but to be honest with you, I've never played an MMORPG on mobile. Like, I've never downloaded Throne and Liberty or like Albion or anything like that. So I don't know how those games work on mobile anyway. So I'm probably not like the best person to ask when it comes to mobile, but I am a little nervous about what they're going to do with mobile. I just would hope that they would do something more just smaller in scope. Because if they were to do something smaller in scope, it would actually free them to do a lot. You know what I mean? At first. You know what I mean? To focus more on the actual PC side of games, and then also get more feedback as to like, well, what would you want to do on mobile? Like, how open do you want mobile to be? How closed do you want mobile to be? Right? Like, there's a lot of stuff they can do. You know what I mean? And I think that's what they're trying to figure out right now. Let me see. Otherwise, I'd be worried the main game would be hobbled in PvP if they wanted it to. Yeah. Well, I think they're also just trying to find out too, like from their community of like, you know, where they want to go, right? Like what they want to do. And I think that's where, you know, with World of Warcraft, it was very apparent that the community wanted more PvE, and PvP was always usually on the back burner. And that's why right now in retail, PvP is just utterly dead. Like it really is. Like Rated Battlegrounds, like all the arena stuff. Like there's no prolific WoW person in PvP anymore. Like Peekaboo's not playing, you know, Zaryu's not playing, Stoop stopped playing. Like there's no one freaking in the PvP scene in WoW anymore. Like there's just no reason. Like the WoW PvP is just dead. With Scars, I truly think they do have an opportunity to make PvP amazing for a WoW player. Because I will say there are people that do love PvP in World of Warcraft, but it's just not good. If Scars can make the combat really fun and engaging, but also make PvP fun and good and worth their time to do, I think you can get a serious influx of players, you know, coming from, you know, WoW's PvP side of things to Scars, especially if you say that it's fucking free to play. Like they're not the, you know, they're not going to have any kind of, to pay anything like monthly sub, you know. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. Man, the amount of commercials is rough. Their current PvP setup is dog water. Their biggest issue is separation of populations in PvP. When it comes to like the whole dividing of like PvE and PvP, I think when it comes to that, like, I think Scars that's what a lot of games do. I mean, even New World did that. You know, New World, if you didn't want a PvP, you opted out of it. I think I see that model just happening more and more and more. Ashes was a different breed because it was trying to replicate in ArcAge. But I think a lot of these new MMOs are going to opt into this model of like opt in or out of PvP. So you don't have like actual PvE or PvP servers. You're just going to have like every server is going to have PvP. But if you don't want to do that, just opt out of it. Because I also think that's just easier. I prefer classic PvP server. Well, yeah. And if you do want that, then you just opt into the PvP on whatever server you're going to play on. And that's what it is. I mean, I think right now, the problem that World of Warcraft had when it came to PvP servers, or just servers in general, was, especially with the API being just out, right, is, Horde is dominated. Like we can literally look this shit up. Like I can go and show you the result of servers when it's whether PvE or PvP. WoW servers classic Horde. Like what's a fucking website where you can go to that'll show you like classic era. Here we go. Excuse me. Well, look at ESO. They added optional sub. You got bag space and a few other things. Plus, they sold skins. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, I think there could be a model here, or even Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2, you just buy you buy the box once, and That's it. You don't have to pay any monthly sub or whatever, but there is an optional sub you can do. And even Star Wars The Old Republic has that now, or you can play Star Wars The Old Republic for free now, but there is an optional sub that you can do to do it. Let me see. Opt-in PvP problem is nobody opts in without incentives. Well, yeah, because most people want to not PvP. PvP for a lot of people is not what they want to do. Like that's what I'm saying. Like this is why, you know, PvP MMOs have a certain degree of PvP players that go to them. When it comes to like any kind of games like WoW or Final Fantasy or any of these other games, like PvP is usually not the focus. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends on what they want to do. But actually looking over here, some of the balancing is actually not too bad. I thought it was going to be way worse, to be honest with you. What is this, TBC? And the only way that whenever you do make the whole PvP or PvE server, the PvP servers usually end up like just having less and less of a population, right? Because people end up just going to, you know, the PvP or the PvE server. And I do agree. I think Vinland and the team are going to have to figure out, well, if you're not going to do like a legitimate PvP server, I think to get more people to participate in the PvP events, there has to be little carrots that they have to dangle in front of people. But there was a statement that Vinland said that he doesn't like offering the carrots. Like he says, you should, if you want to participate in PvE, that should be your decision. If you want to participate in PvP, that should be your decision. There should be there should be nothing in the game that is dangling in front of you that is basically forcing you to do something that you don't want to do. Those are his words, not mine. And I mean, again, if that's his philosophy, then I think we're just going to have to see how good the combat is, how good the PvP systems are, because if there's no outside influence, then the only thing that could capture PvPers or a PvEer maybe doing PvP is because those systems are actually legitimately very fun. Without the fucking incentive, I think it's going to feel, you know, for a PvPer, it might feel very barren, right? You might be going into your server and there's just hardly any PvP to be had as far as open world goes. But I don't think open world PvP in Scars is going to be the bread and butter, though. I think they want the bread and butter to be battlegrounds, arenas. Those are the things that I think Scars is trying to put their eggs in their baskets in. Like I don't think world PvP is going to be the thing. And I know a lot of people love world PvP, but let's just be honest, world PvP to me has always been dog shit. It's always an unfair fight. And I know people love that, right? Getting the gank on someone because it's fun. Until it happens to you and then it's not fun. But I again, like you're speaking to someone who's not PvP focused. Okay. That's a complete opinion from someone who is a PvEer, not a PvPer. Let me see, PvPers are only 10% of anyone, if that. Well, that's what I mean, right? And this is why we haven't really had a PvP centric MMO, because it's just a lot easier to cater to the PvE side because that piece of the pie is just way bigger. It's just way bigger. Unfair to the poor sons against me. I'm not saying Scars should focus on world PvP. They should just go either all in or remove it entirely. Opt-in is pointless. PvP option immediately dies with without vast incentive. We'll see. I mean, again, I think when it comes to any kind of opt-in system, I'm not the demographic that you should be trying to grasp. Like, really, what I feel like there should be are PvPers playing Scars of Honor in the PvP side of things? Because if you're asking, are the PvEers playing the PvE side of things? Well, of course. But the problem usually happens where a PvPer is actually on the PvE shard, not on the PvP shard. That is a problem. And that is the question you would have to ask. Well, why would a PvP minded player play on the PvE shard or the PvE side of things? Those are the real questions, because I think trying to dangle the carrot in front of a PvEer to potentially PvP, well, you might get 1 out of 30, 1 out of 100, maybe PvEers to do that. But I think the real issue is, where are the PvPers and are they showing up? You know what I'm saying? Open world PvP in Scars isn't necessarily in Scars. Hot take, but yes, the arenas and BG should be the PvP content. I do agree. I think when it comes to like the arenas and the battlegrounds and everything like that, I think those should be the main focus. But again, Vinland did talk about, he does want the open world to feel alive. And if you truly want that, there needs to be open world systems, whether they are kind of a mixture of a PvEVP, right? Doing PvE objectives with PvP happening at the same time, then you have to make very compelling systems to do that. And there has to be proper rewards and incentives as well. So either the philosophy has to change from Vinland and the team, or what systems could you put in the open world to entice PvPers or even PvEers to join in? Like, that's again, those are just real questions. You know what I'm saying? Do we have an idea on date for release? Basically, Vince said December is their target for early access or for launch. Because I want to say, when it comes to early access, Q3 is going to be their early access on Steam. Their actual 1.0 launch, I would assume probably sometime next year. But I don't think their 1.0 launch is going to be this year, personally. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, I could be freaking wrong. I mean, I don't know. Path of Least Resistance, if I have no incentives, I am putting myself at risk in the PvP shard. Why would I bother? I would farm gear in PvP and then play PvP content. But even that is negatively affected by separating geared PvP and ungeared PvP content. Well, and again, I've always been a fan personally of PvP gear and PvE gear. Personally, I like that, and I know there's a lot of people that don't like it and they want one set for both things, and I think it gets really muddied really quickly. Because you can't make, in my opinion, you can't make compelling sets that have to cater to both PvP and PvE. Whenever you separate them and you are making gear for one function, whether it's the PvE side for dungeons and raids or the other for PvP, you can actually have way better set bonuses, way better passives, way better powers when they're separated. Because now if you were to say, oh, well, all gear, you can both do PvP and you can PvE in, then it becomes a very kind of watered down version of sets at that point. You know, and I'm personally of the camp, and I did do arenas back in Burning Crusade back in 2005 or 2007 when it released. And that's all I did in Burning Crusade. I was on my hunter. I did arenas exclusively. And I loved grinding out my gladiator gear. I thought it was fucking awesome. You know what I mean? If I wanted to go and raid, I had to do my raiding gear. You know what I mean? Crip, dude, what's going on, brother? Dude, holy shit, 31 months, dude. Fucking A, dude. Thank you so much, Crip, man. Where there are gear doesn't matter, it defeats the entire purpose of grinding in MMOs. I mean, I think it defeats the whole purpose in your perspective, like as a PvPer. And again, I think when it comes to PvP in general, it's going to be a very interesting path going forward for Scars, because there is a lot of Ashes people that are in the community now that are very PvP mindseted. And I think when it comes to, you know, like a lot of different discussions, right? Because I heard Vinland talk about caravans and naval, like people were asking about caravans and naval, which I'm like, why would that be in Scars of Honor? But he said like, well, that could be in the future if the community wants it. Well, maybe we'll add it. And I'm like, interesting. Like I didn't even personally think that he would even go in a direction like that. to be honest. I think it's going to be interesting regardless to see the approach. Not only does Vinland and his team take with the community, but also the approach of like how Ashes imploding basically could have actually changed their trajectory of their future systems, right? Systems that they didn't even want to do now, but like, oh, we want to do in the future. But there are certain philosophies that I think when it comes to like no flying, he was very adamant, like there's never ever going to be flying in Scars of Honor. Thank God. Because I swear, like, especially coming from Ashes and even mares, only mares could be able to fly, I thought was fucking dumb. I'm like, I love the fact that this is going to be a game where flying won't be a fucking thing. And I think that's just great. Villain can say everything, including the kitchen sink, could be added in there. Well, I mean, yeah, he could. But the thing is that he said no to a lot too. Like, I don't think he's just been saying, oh, yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's been very clear as to like the limitations of him and his team. And I think that was the biggest thing too, especially when I started coming into and listening to him, you know, when Roar had his interview with him, and then I was able to talk to him. Like, it was very refreshing to hear him actually say no, or say, well, you know, we'll wait and see. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't immediately just being like, yes, we're going to do that. Oh, you like that? Yeah, we're going to do that. Like, no, like he was very much like, you know, I don't know. Like, I think it's gonna be very interesting going forward. Mind you, I wouldn't even bother critiquing the PvP in this game if it was all PvE. But there are right and wrong ways of implementing PvP. I mean, and I think it's gonna be interesting to see, regardless of what ends up happening, if PvP and Scars ends up feeling as terrible. Because again, the more I kept hearing him talk, the more I kept hearing we're just gonna do it like WoW. And again, I think WoW's open world PvP is complete and utter dog shit. It's fucking terrible. I don't care what anyone says. It's fucking awful. And it's been awful for a long time. Now, you could like it. You can like the whole spawn camping at graveyards. You can like the fact that, you know, oh, you need to call your friends and all that sort of stuff. I think it's terrible. I think it's a complete waste of time. And I think there are ways to even improve upon the WoW model, but also just to improve on PvP overall. And if they're willing to put up on the table and be like, well, we thought this was going to work and it's not, like, what do you guys think we should do? I think it's going to be very interesting to see like the pivots and the new direction that PvP could potentially go in. You think PvPVE would just be off-putting to both crowds or appeal to both? I think it could. I think it can actually be both. It can be a double-edged sword. There could be people that don't mind systems that are a PvPVE, and there's some people that think like, I would love to participate in this thing if it didn't have PvP. Like, again, MMORPGs, you're never going to appease everybody. And this is the thing that I feel like, especially that Scars and Vinland is going through, is you have people that are like, you know, wanting things a very stringent way. And you have to be kind of clear on like, are you going to go in this direction, and just be open with them now. Right. But the fact is, because they're in open development, because, you know, stuff is still being tweaked and, you know, they say they're listening to the community. Oh shit. I didn't even see the ad. Fucking A, dude. I'm so sorry. What's your answer? Well, Zoranctra, I don't know what to tell you, dude. I was going off about it and I didn't even see the fucking ad. I'm so sorry, dude. Yeah, but I think overall, when it comes to like the whole PvEVP, I think MMORPGs, you're just never going to appease everybody, right? You're never going to appease everybody. You're going to say something that's going to yay for one side and then boo for the other. And again, like when Vinland was talking about API, and because like, look, let me well, actually, you know, let's talk about so Roar made a video, No More Secrets. Okay. And this is a video that Roar did talking about the API discussion. I think this is a very interesting topic to talk about, And so I wanted to watch this video because I haven't gone around to watching it today. And, you know, I like Roar's videos, and I wanted to see like what he was thinking about API discussion. So let's talk about it, and I'll give you my thoughts on it, because I think there's a lot that could be very scary if API does get opened. So let's let me put my headphones on.
What's up, guys? It's Roar. So on Sunday, I watched Armagon's live stream. If you don't know who that is, it's Vinland. He's the CEO and creative director for Beast Burst Entertainment and Scars of Honor. During his stream, he showcased a website called Scarshead. I believe it's trying to be like Wowhead. It will be an all-encompassing database for all things Scars of Honor. You know, we go to Wowhead for game information, news, and updates. It sounds like this is exactly what he wants to achieve for Scars of Honor. And that's great. Vinland was thrilled about this, and I think it's a really cool thing as well. But Vinland basically said he's going to open the API for Scars of Honor for this Scarshead website. You can see that in the clip here.
So guys, some one of you made this awesome website. Some one of you made this awesome website, and I was like mind blown.
I was really mad that Roar blurred the chat, because basically when Vinland talked about this and said what he about to say, there was just nothing but praise. Everybody was like, W, big W. Like no one was shitting on this.
Huge thank you chat, huge thank you community, because this is something that I was like, oh my god, are we in that deep? Are we that deep so far? And I was like, if these people are doing this, Beast Burst is 100% supporting this. The moment when we conclude and we release the post system, our development team, through the developers platform, will provide you guys, all of you, the full database of Scars of Honor. The full database of Scars of Honor. Listen to me carefully. This includes talents. This includes spells, full information about spell and talents, icons, translations, absolutely everything, guys. This is how serious I am about how we approach this. I'm open sourcing everything via API to you guys.
Now, before we begin, I just want to preface this by saying that I am no expert. This is just what an hour of Google research taught me. So, what is an API? API stands for Application Programming Interface. It allows different software components to communicate. This enables games to interact with hardware, operating systems, or external services. Opening a game's API fully to a website is significant. This means that developers are providing a structured real-time pipeline. Third-party sites like wikis or trackers or databases, they can now access game data. They can display it and update this data automatically. It enables instant and accurate information sharing. And you know, we're not going to have to rely on manual or outdated content any longer. And we're talking about a great many things here.
I'm sure Roar's going to mention it, but man, there's a lot to be kind of scared with in this aspect. I think when it comes to World of Warcraft, that game's been out for 20 plus years, right? Like, it is what it is. But releasing your API, you think of the crafting system, right? Which was something that if you came from Ashes of Creation, you were like looking up Ashes Codex all the time because you had to fucking figure out all the fucking materials you needed to make, you know, a certain piece of gear, right? So for having an API open is a kind of a godsend in a way. But when you don't have like a lot of materials or whatever, and stuff is like already kind of simmed out because, you know, these people that are very much spreadsheet warriors are going to calculate all of the things and the best route for you to go with when it comes to your profession or gathering or all the best gear. That's kind of worrisome, because that to me is like a lot of the gameplay that players should figure out. And I don't know if, yes, does that mean DPS meters? Yes, it does. Because when the API is there, like hell, even when the API isn't there, again, Final Fantasy 14 doesn't have complete access to API, but yet there is the ACT DPS meter for Final Fantasy 14. And if you're a hardcore raider, you fucking need it. So DPS meters are always going to be a thing. Like, that's just the reality. But when API is a thing, that also means your bosses or dungeons and raids. That means every single ability that that boss does is you can now figure out either conditions, you can figure out timers, you can figure out everything. And that to me is what I was mostly kind of scared about. Yes, deadly boss mods from WoW. Exactly. I think they can control what portion is public. I think they want to make some basic information public so they can quick guides for new players. And I hope that's true. Again, this is the worry that I have, and I'm sure this is the same worry Roar has. So let me keep watching.
Includes player stats and item drop rates. It covers NPC locations and item locations. It includes quest data, mob abilities, and mob stats. We will see class data like talent trees, item descriptions, ability descriptions, and stat weights. It's a whole lot of stuff. So what does this mean for the game and its development? Well, as systems and features are updated or coded in, this website will have a pipeline to that information, and it will happen near instantly. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. Websites like Wowhead or Icy Veins, they've done this for years with World of Warcraft.
Absolutely.
Those sites have been the source of truth for many players. However, I would be lying if I said that I didn't think it was harmful to the MMORPG experience. The spirit of MMORPGs was to adventure and explore. We used to get lost and seek out the unknown. We used to experiment. Websites with access to internal data, they got rid of most of that. They normalized optimization. We no longer play around with builds and loadouts. We just look up the best build and we move on. This could potentially wipe out hours of gameplay and experimentation. Now, this doesn't apply to every player, but it is a lot of people that do this. The devs, they could block some parts of the API to prevent it. World of Warcraft recently did this with combat data. It was a part of the add-ons purge for Midnight. They stopped tracking real-time combat data through the API. This stopped things like weak auras and boss mods and combat meters from working. Other add-ons like UI customizations, those still work because they weren't blocked. So we need to wait and see what Scars of Honor will limit, if anything. I worry about systems like dynamic questing. We heard that there would be, different ways to complete quests. Players would have to figure those out. If a website has access to this data, then that guesswork is going to be removed. I also wonder about procedural dungeons. Are they truly 100% random, or is there a rhyme and reason to those procedural layouts? Access to the API data will tell us. It could allow players to min-max dungeons for efficiency. I'm not really fully on board with dissecting the game before we play it, but I might just be blowing all of this out of proportion. The second part.
Nope. Because that's exactly what's going to happen. Like, I am very worried about it too. And again, I hope, and again, as someone who doesn't know much about APIs or like what a dev or a team can do on their back end to limit certain things or encrypt certain things, I hope that there are things that are just off limits from players. Because I think you need players to kind of educate you rather than a website educating you. Like, this is the same argument of like, LFD, right? Like looking for dungeon or whatever in WoW, like where you just insta queue, it pops, you go in with like 4 random people you never see again, you do the dungeon, you leave. Like, that's not the kind of essence that people want in an MMO. And I think when it comes to like whether it's crafting, like you going and looking at the crafting UI and seeing like what potential things like you can do. Now, of course, even without an API, people will have like whatever your BIS sword is for your class or whatever. But honestly, I think most fucking people are lemmings when it comes to trying to figure it out for themselves, because they would rather just be the sheep and have someone tell them what to do. Like, and how, and what's funny enough, in World of Warcraft, I forgot what season it was in, but I believe it was in Dragonflight. There were guides for Warlock that basically said one thing, but if you looked up the armory of like the Warlocks that were doing like any from like the high-end mythic raids, were all in completely different talent specs. So it's like, why would a person make a guide and say like, hey, use this talent thing when the high end people aren't even using like quote unquote the best thing. And mostly it's because sometimes there's niche situations that you can't educate maybe in a video, or maybe you don't want to educate. Maybe you want to have some stuff that other people just don't know. And yes, this build that I made for you is really, really good. But the one that I use is like a little bit better. You know what I mean? And honestly, like, I think when it comes to even a PoE style tree, this is the thing too with Path of Exile. Path of Exile, most people look at that talent tree and say, fuck that. And what they usually do, and again, even then they might say, fuck that, they will still go and look up like sorcerer builds, right, from people online. Because even them figuring out the talent tree doesn't deter them from playing the game, but they will never try to figure out a build on their own. They will just go to some website or go to some YouTube video and follow their guide to how to build for their class. And when you play like that, you're literally removing like a whole aspect of gameplay from yourself. Now, do people care? Probably not, because that's not a particular aspect of gameplay that they would have enjoyed anyway. And I think if there were never guides when it comes to PoE, and no one ever made a guide as to like, hey, this is like my particular sorcerer build for Chain Lightning that I made, but I'm not going to share it with anybody, and you just wanted to play Chain Lightning, you just had to figure it out, but then you were getting fucking Romful stomped because the particular build that you went into just fucking sucked, and you're like, I'm just dying all the time. You probably thought PoE is a very shitty game, but because people did figure it out, you were able to enjoy someone else's path and found a love for a game based off of someone else's work. So saying all that to say, it really comes down to the particular player, because let's just be honest, guys, we live in 2026, man. Internet's here. It's fucking full blown internet. Like, you're never, ever, ever going to have an MMO come out where shit isn't going to be somewhat figured out within a month. Like, and I think even if they had APIs completely fucking closed, just the hive mind think tank or even YouTubers would probably have a lot of shit figured out within the first month, even with completely closed API. So I don't know. I just think that it's sort of like a fallacy to believe that we're going to have an MMO come out and there's not going to be any information about it. And it again, even Ashes Codex, like Ashes of Creation, there were so many people that knew a fuck ton about that game, dude. A fuck ton. And it wasn't even out, like, it wasn't even like finished, and people already knew. So imagine a launch how prepared people were going to fucking be with like leveling routes and everything like that. I think with the biggest potential that Scars has is because no one's playing it, right? It's not 24/7 persistent. Depending on how long or how limited this demo is going to be, as far as like land or quests or whatever, right? Which I kind of, to be honest with you, I kind of hope it's limited, to be honest. I hope it's not like, I hope it's just like a taste, you know. I think what I would want to have more open access is the talent trees and classes. That and just have like a little bit of questing, maybe like that one dungeon or whatever, and I would be fine. And have that open for like maybe 3 weeks and then close the demo and then just go back to work until early access launch. Like, that's what I would do. I used to make guides for a niche MMO. I'd give them a build that's good and I'd use the build that's hard to counter. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I think a lot of people do stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think I used to, and I still do with like Last Epoch, but even Path of Exile, I made a lot of my own builds. Now, mind you, they were fucking trash, but I did it. Like, I looked at the fucking, and I was doing it and I loved it. I thought that to me was like one of the biggest things. It's like, especially when you find these like eureka moments where you find like a particular chain of nodes that just really works. And you're like, okay, this shit slaps, but maybe I should fix this portion over here. Like this isn't quite working like I thought it was. Maybe this goes way too far out to get this one little point that I thought was going to be good. Maybe it wasn't so good, but if I refine and I make this part better, for some reason, I love that kind of shit. Like for me, like I just find it to be a lot more enjoyable. And this is why I'm so excited for Scars, because I don't even know if I would even make a guide, like a class guide. Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't. I don't know. Like, but I just really enjoy. Gonna have the Flicker Strike build in Scars. Dude, the Flicker Strike build in fucking Last Epoch was pretty fucking awesome. I mean, I think there's a Flicker Strike build even in Path of Exile, to be honest. But yeah, no API, no pay to for convenience, no pay to win. Yeah, I am not against pay to convenience. Do I like pay to convenience? Not really, but I'm not against it. Like I'm not. Like I think when it comes to Path of Exile, I support the shit out of them because I love the game. And I bought all the stash tabs, I bought all the stuff for it. Like I didn't really mind. It wasn't like, oh, like I'm forced into doing it. Like I really didn't mind it. Now I would say this, Finland, if you are really trying to adopt the whole Path of Exile shit, then your inventory system, model PoE's inventory system in that case. Like where if you're going into crafting, give us a legit crafting bag UI of like having all of our craftables, all of our little things in it, just like Path of Exile does with like it's like runes and all that shit. Like give us that in fucking Scars of Honor and I will fucking buy it. 100%. But I also feel Erwin, thank you so much for the sub, brother. Thank you. Fucking ads. Dude, I'm so sorry, dude. But yeah, I feel like whenever a game is free to play, I don't mind the convenience side of it because they're not charging me a monthly sub. You know what I mean? And to me, a lot of the pay convenience stuff, I buy once and I don't have to buy it again. You know what I mean? So I'm not I am not like upset at that. You know what I'm saying? I have arrived. I got excited about the category. I was like, no way, this dropped on a random Monday night. Yeah, we're just talking Scars, man. We're watching Roar's video about API and shit. All right, let's keep going.
The puzzle is data mining. There is a difference between the two. APIs are structured and sanctioned by developers. Data mining is the often unauthorized process of extracting hidden information.
Yes.
It comes from game files, code, or memory. Now, data mining isn't new. It's been happening for years. Gamers scrub files for clues to gain an advantage. For example, mounts in New World, they were found in the...
I know this is such a small thing. I really don't like this like outline. I think it looks so ugly. Like, and I know this is probably like whenever you click on a person or you're by a person, it like highlights them. But I don't like the way this looks. And I know this could be just a beta thing or like not a beta thing, but just like a work in progress thing. But I hope they get rid of this. It just looks tacky.
Game files at launch, but we didn't get them actually until a couple of
years. Yeah, I hope it can be turned
later.
off because it just doesn't look good.
Information from an API is accurate and true. However, data mining information should be taken with a grain of salt. Just because it's in the files doesn't mean that it's going to be used.
The sheep that follow cookie cutter builds also don't understand if they only meta, they would play those builds at 100% efficiency. You can use a worse build if you pilot it better. No, 100%. I should actually do an experiment. Like once Scars comes out and I really learn a particular class very fucking well, I'm going to make a guide for people to say like, hey guys, this is a really good guide for the warrior class, and just actually do a very mediocre build, like purposefully not add like the best talents or like the best things, and then do like a follow-up later of saying, hey guys, if you really like my build for the warrior, that build was complete trash. That build sucked. And here's a really good build for you guys, since you guys fell for that one. Something like that would be fun. That would be funny. Honestly, seeing the way Scars is being designed, I would say open world should be strictly PvE. And instanced PvP should just be arenas and battlegrounds in a traditional MMO sense. Arena is a small scale dueling. You see BGs are objective based, medium to large scale. Remove the gearless PvP options to give PvP reasons to play in PvE side of the game. Add reputation sources obtained through PvP profit. items, resources. I mean, who knows? I mean, like I said, I don't know. Like, it'd be interesting to see, like, because Vinland apparently is a fan of PvP. Like, he really wants like PvP to matter in Scars, but that's a loaded statement to say, right? And I think if you're also talking to very heavy PvP minded people like Dolim here, like, that could be a very different conversation. You know what I mean? Of like, well, if it matters to you, then why aren't you going to do it this way? Or why aren't you doing it this, you know? Because again, I think, you know, it's his game, it's his vision, but I think it's going to be very interesting to see the pivot of PvP, or just the evolution of the PvP conversation going forward. So we'll see what happens.
And many players, they view data mining as a negative thing. It often reveals secrets or spoilers. Early previews from World of Warcraft cinematics are often data mined. That's how we see them on Wowhead long before that patch even launches.
True.
So how do you stop data mining? Well, one way is to store more information on the server side. But this creates problems. Most files are stored on the client side to reduce internet usage and latency, so you can't really hide much data on the server side. You could also encrypt the files. However, they need to be decrypted at runtime, and powerful encryption requires PC resources. This could cause performance issues. Encryption doesn't really help anyways, because the client has to be able to read the files.
True.
So you're giving people the encrypted files and the tools to decrypt them. Doesn't really work. Another way is to just not load the files until you're ready to use them. But even then, it's really only a matter of time. I expect loads of data mined info to flood the land by spring. That's when we get the demo and the files will be on our PCs. The third component is add-ons. I asked Vinland if he was going to allow player-made add-ons. His answer was this: we will have the ability to have add-ons. However, this feature will not be active at the start. If we get to the point that players are requesting things in-game that we cannot accommodate, or it is not in the budget, we may activate the player add-on feature. So Vinland is not against player add-ons. He's
Number one add-on, DPS meter. I know people will be all upset. I don't care. If there's one thing you should have in your game, especially if you're going to have competitive dungeons and raids, PvP, very elaborate talent trees, abilities, you need a DPS meter. Like, as a developer, that should be a built-in focus. I am glad finally, after 20 fucking years in World of Warcraft, they finally added a built-in DPS meter into WoW. So yeah, I would say their number one add-on that they should add for Scars of Honor should be 100% a DPS meter. Because if you don't add a DPS meter, someone else is going to make it, and everyone's going to have it anyway. So either you, as a developer, take it by, you know, the horns and take it upon yourself to do it, or other people will do it themselves. That's just how it is. It's now, you can disagree, you can not like that take, but the reality is very different. The reality is people will have a DPS meter. People will get a DPS meter. Now, you may not want one, and that's fine, but everyone else will, is what I'm trying to tell you. Let me see, where were you in Villain Stream when he asked that question? Brother, I was so busy with family shit and doing other stuff. I want a DPS meter, even if it's just local. I want to be able to see what I'm doing so I can improve 100%. And this is what I mean. Like, as someone who values, especially seeing all of the work the developers have been doing for the talent trees, I want to go and test out every fucking 300 node. Like, I want to test them all out, and I want to see, does this node even work? Right? I want to give feedback. I want to like test shit. And I can't properly test stuff if I have to go and literally write each fucking number down on a notepad and do it that way. You know what I mean? I'd rather just have like a DPS meter that I can just check. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. I honestly don't understand the grabs over DPS meters anymore. If your concern is dealing with toxic players, don't play with them. Dude, 100%. This is why I joined a guild. You know what I mean? And if you don't like DPS meters, then don't play with people that play with DPS meters. And this is something Final Fantasy 14 has literally done for a long fucking time. There are guilds that advertise no DPS meter required, because they are a casual raiding guild where they will teach you the mechanics, but you don't need to know how much damage you're doing. As long as the boss dies, that's all I care about. But then there's other people that in our guild, you need a DPS meter. We need to see like what you're doing. You need to perform at a certain level of threshold or whatever. You just play with people that play the way you do. That's as simple as that. The problem comes is that you want to play a certain way and you're forcing other people to play the way you do, or vice versa. And that's just never fun. You should play the way you want to play. And if other people are playing differently, why should you shit on them? You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with like, I remember Josh Tyre Hayes on X recently put out this long comment of like a classic WoW person talking about how Josh Drive Hayes was playing the fucking game wrong because he had Questy. What? Like, who gives a shit? Like, if Josh wants to fucking have Questy on and you don't, why are you shitting on someone that wants to have it on? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's just, I feel like the brain rot is just getting worse and worse and worse, dude. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Just going to try to do without them at first. I think that's pretty fair, but the API is what allows add-ons to function. In World of Warcraft, they work by using Lua or XML to interact with the API. Since Venolan is open to API access, add-ons may be more of a reality than we think. There has already been talk of DPS meters and boss mods in the Discord. Some are for it, others are against it. Knowing what we know now means that they could be a real thing in the near future. So prepare yourselves. Personally, I am not for or against add-ons, API access, or data mining. I feel that they ruined the spirit of MMORPGs, but if a game uses them, I am going to partake. If the game doesn't, then I'll just play the old-fashioned way. I would rather the game not be beaten before we even log in, but I understand the world we live in today. So what do you guys think about the news? Is it good or bad for the game? Tell me in the comments. As always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.
Well, let's do it. Go ahead and give Roar what the fuck? I just realized that my YouTube wasn't fucking on as far as like the comments coming in. I am so sorry, YouTube. Jesus Christ, I'm an idiot. Twitch was on, but YouTube wasn't, so I wasn't seeing YouTube comments. Fucking A. Sorry, first day shits. So sorry, dude. Fucking A. Yeah, the great video, man. I mean, honestly, like when it comes to or let me read some of the comments because y'all so I have a mate, we played Warhammer, he got upset over how I picked and stacked my dice. Yeah, I can only imagine. I should have left a guild in classic WoW because they played it too hardcore in raids, literally mandatory full flask buffs, pushing DPS meters to decide who could and couldn't raid. I said, nah, this game was beaten 20 years ago. I don't need to go this hard on an easy game. Bro, I think people that play classic to that level there's something wrong with those people. Like, you could literally defeat a raid boss in classic WoW in like 30 seconds. Unoptimized, mind you. If everybody just knows what the fuck they're doing, like Pilaf, like has been doing a bunch of shorts lately on classic WoW and TBC. It's insane, bro. It's insane. Like, I don't even understand why people want to go hard in TBC in the sense of rating when it's one or two mechanics, bro. Like it's so easy. It's not hard. I honestly don't get it. But hey, you know what I mean? If you think you need full like buffs, flasks, you know, pre-bis to kill a boss in 12 seconds, I guess, you know, I don't fucking know, man. Those people, they need Jesus. I don't know. Yeah, Roar's so good on these videos. Yeah, man, he's been doing great. I actually I was talking to him about this stuff yesterday because we're just talking in Discord. And I told him, I was like, I'm gonna be working on my talent tree video this week. Because I I want to talk about it. I mean, I kind of, if you watched me today, like you're probably going to hear a lot of what I said today, like in my talent tree video, but I really love talent trees. And I think seeing the PoE like talent tree in Scars just has me like a giddy schoolgirl. Like I'm so fucking excited. I can't wait to fucking just see that talent tree and just be able to play it and shit. Dogly, do what's going on, brother? Don't stand in the fire. Yeah, bro, you can even stand in the fire. Like you won't even die. Like I mean, well, you might, but I mean, it's classic is not a flex like people think it is what I'm trying to say. Like it's not. You want to fucking flex, then go fight a mythic raid boss in retail WoW. Go do it. Go fight like a mid-tier, like boss number 4 or 5 on mythic. And then you tell me like how fucking easy retail is, because it's fucking not. Let me see. I seen Royer's name on Vinland's dev build. They just having fun using his name. Oh yeah. Vinland just made a character named Royer. You see, yeah, I agree. World of Warcraft does the same thing. PvP should be a choice, not forced on a player. Not everybody's gonna like PvP. I prefer PvE. PvP I don't care about. That's what I mean, right? Like I think most new games are probably gonna adopt this opt-in model. Like war mode in WoW, like that's literally what it is. So it's like there is no more PvP servers or PvE servers. You could just play a server and there's an opt-in PvP. But there's a lot of philosophy that goes into open world. And because that's where a lot of the more, natural PvP, right? Because it comes down to like, if you go into a battleground or arena, well, that's more predicated, right? Because you're physically queuing up for a battleground, but just walking along the road and minding your own business and you see someone that's flagged and you're like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like that's where, people want it to be better. War mode was so bad. Well, that's what I mean. Like WoW's never done PvP well in my mind. Like open world PvP, war mode, WoW's just, in my opinion, has not done PvP well in a very, very, very long time. In my opinion, they need to do it like WoW. PvE gets PvE gear, PvP gets PvP gear. Yeah, I'm of that mindset. I like separate gear. I like having set bonuses that are PvP based and set bonuses that are PvE raid and dungeon based. I like that shit. And I was also a fan of resilience too. Like I know, I wasn't really a fan of PvP power, but I did love resilience. I was a huge fan of resilience back in the day, but they got rid of that too and replaced it with PvP power. And then I don't even think there is anything anymore. I don't know. I haven't fucking PvP'd in WoW in so fucking long. I have no idea. It's one or the other for open world. You either go all in on PvP or you go all in on PvE. Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's what I mean. I think it's going to be very interesting to see like the discussion and just the overall philosophy for PvP. You're just flat out wrong. You just don't like world PvP. I mean, I could be wrong. Again, you're talking to someone who's primarily a PvEer. I have so many fond memories of world PvP and WoW in the good old days. I played a PvP server, Altar of Storms, from 2005 to 2010. And I have some fond memories, but for the most part, being spawn camped in a graveyard isn't really what I consider to be a fond memory back then. And I remember being in a guild on BC where and I didn't really know them too well, but I mean, anytime I usually called for help, no one ever came. So if there was a feral druid or a rogue like in Stranglethorn Vale that was spawn camping me, I just logged out for that day and didn't play. Then I played the next day. Like I'm not a fan of content denial. I think that's a very shit kind of gameplay personally. But I think WoW could have done PvP differently, is what I'm saying. Also, Girion shouldn't be separate. However, the way stats and abilities should be tweaked differently on how they affect players versus how they affect NPCs. I think when it comes to stats and stuff like that, I think there should be stats that when you're doing something towards a player should be different compared to like a mob. I do agree, but I disagree about there only being one set. I disagree with that. I would rather have separate sets where you focus on a PvP set if you want a PvP, and if you want to do PvE stuff, there should be a separate set for that. Like and this was something even in Ashes that I was never going to like this one set business. I was never going to like it because it was going to be a watered down version of passives and bonuses, which just felt like very meh. I don't like open world PvP. You're correct, but you have a choice, PvE or PvP. Well, and again, I think when it comes to Scars, again, having an opt in, I'm just going to be on the PvE side of things. There might be some times that I want to go and do like actual PvP, but I won't go to open world to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like if I want to PvP, I'm just going to queue up for a dungeon or an arena, or I'll queue up for a battleground. I've never thought open world PvP was the place to be for PvP. I don't. Just my opinion. Like I just don't think it's I don't think that part is pretty fun because you're always at a disadvantage mostly. And I would rather be like in a 2v2, 3v3, 5v5, or a 10v10, 15 versus 15, like arena or battleground, and have actual like structure of strategy. You know what I mean? That to me is more fun than just, oh, I got the upper hand on you in open world and I'm, two-shotting you and you're dead. Like, oh wow, okay, you're so amazing because you did that. Like I don't know. It's just that to me was just never a fun experience. I think there should be many sets, but I don't see a reason to separate PvP from PvE. It's like you're saying there should be separate abilities for from PvP and PvE. No, what I am saying is that I like sets that focus on some kind of a dampener, like resilience. And I also like sets that focus on PvP bonuses and PvE bonuses. And if you just have one set, that would mean that they would have to add both the PvE and the PvP bonuses, which could be pretty overpowered. I mean, they could do something like that. I've never seen a game do that, but they could do something like that. And if they did do something like that, then I kind of wouldn't mind. If every gear had a potential of like a kind of resilience and or like a primary stat, stamina, some secondary stuff like crit, haste, whatever secondary stats, mind you, then yes, I wouldn't mind it. But what I don't like is when it is one set and it's a watered down version of a tier set, because you have to incorporate both the PvE side and the PvP side simultaneously. I would rather have a more unique set bonus towards my dungeons and raids, and also a more unique set bonus for my PvP. You know what I'm trying to say? Like that's my thing. And what they could do is have set bonuses that actually convert. Like if you're in a dungeon and raid, then it will give you your PvE bonuses. But if you're in a PvP situation, then it converts to your PvP bonuses. If that was the case, then I would be fine with it. That's something that I would like. But I've never seen a game do that. And if Scars wants to do something like that, then I would be all on board for that. Just have one active in Dungeons and Raids and the other active in the arenas. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, and I would definitely be fine with that. Would it be easier to scale percentage of AP /AD applied to the PvP target? I mean, I don't know what would be easier, but I'm just saying, like, I think when it comes to PvP, sorry, my brain just fucking derailed completely. Like I had a whole thing of what I wanted to say and it just went. But yeah, I mean, look, I don't even know. I'm not even the right person to be arguing like PvP mostly. Like my headspace has always been in the PvE mind. Like I am not a PvPer at heart. And even for Ashes of Creation, Vlad hits rocks for fun. That's true. That's fucking true. I hit trees, I hit rocks. But I mean, again, I was willing to go in on the PvP and learn PvP and do the PvP. But when it comes down to it, I'm just not like a PvP like player anymore. Like that's not what I find fun or interesting. I don't mind to do it. Like I will sign up for a dungeon or for battlegrounds or arenas with buddies and shit like that. And I would want to get good at it, but I just don't see like why I want to go into the open world and do that is my point. Let me see, correct me if I'm wrong, but Vinland stated that the playtest is going to be open PvP. I don't think so. I think the demo probably would be in an opt-in scenario. It'll now, mind you, I have not heard him say that. This is my assumption. I believe that the demo is going to be PvE with opt-in PvP. I could be wrong, but that's my assumption. You have done all that young jock stuff now. And I just sit there and watch people walk by. I feel you. Well, I PvP'd a fuck ton from all I did in TBC. I didn't raid Kara until literally Wrath of the Lich King. When Wrath of the Lich King was coming out, like 2 months before Wrath came out, is when I actually went into Kara and did Kara. Because I'm telling you, I did nothing but arenas and battlegrounds. All I did was PvP. And then when Wrath came out, I did the same thing. I arenaed, I did PvP, I did AV, I did Warsong, I did all that shit. I didn't actually start becoming a raider until Trial of the Crusader. But worst fucking raid to have my intro to. I wish I would have went into Uldir, but no, I fucking went into Trial of the Crusader, and yeah, I was like, wow, this is what fucking raiding is, you know. But yeah, if PvP is advertised, I will critique it. This game could easily succeed without it and go 100% PvE, but since it's advertised with PvP and the creator is claiming to be PvP fanatic, I will absolutely chime in what it is and isn't right about its designs. Yeah, and you should. I mean, again, I think when it comes to, I would rather Vinland take the word of someone who has that mindset of PvP than someone like myself, personally. Because, yes, I have my opinions on PvP. That's all they are, it's just opinions. But I am not the person that should be arguing for the PvPers. Does that make sense? Like I know what PvE systems are good. And it was so funny, even in Ashes, like I always tried to argue for the PvPer. I always try to be the person to say like, hey, well, this game, Ashes, is very much a PvP centric game. And I would always ask questions that PvPers wanted to know. And, you know, because I know it was important. PvP was going to be a very important aspect of Ashes. I just don't know yet, because to be honest with you, I'm still learning a lot from just everything. Oh, Graven, dude, you fucking gave a sub to Dolam? Thank you, brother. Most of the questions I would hound you about. Yeah, well, that's what I mean. And I appreciate it. I mean, I think when it comes to, you know, even Scars, I think a lot of the Ashes people are just trying to learn what the philosophy of Scars is trying to be. Like, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to do? You know what I'm saying? I would like the combat to feel like the same, whether it's PvP or PvE. That'd be the perfect blend, in my opinion. Well, I think combat is to me, combat is a completely different discussion, but I do agree with you, Nathan. Combat is a very important aspect of, like, whether you're killing a mob or you're killing a player. It should be fun. It should be engaging. There should be skills that feel very satisfying to push. Like, and I'm sorry, dude, like, MAME on the fighter in Ashes, I don't know if I'll ever find another game that'll give me that fucking satisfaction again. I hope to God it does. I truly hope to God it does, because hitting MAME in Ashes, just, it felt so fucking good. And I haven't felt that in a long time from just hitting the single ability. You see, Ashes was like hardcore PvP, like Arcade and Griefing. If people not really like PvP and ganking Toxic, they will like the game. Well, hi Breakfast, what's going on, brother? I think when it comes to Scars, I think PvP will be an aspect of the game, much like it's an aspect in World of Warcraft. I just don't know of how much of an aspect Vinland and his team want PvP to be in Scars. Like how much of a focus, how big, like how many systems should have PvP, should incorporate PvP. Like I don't know. What's this game you're speaking of? Another Kickstarter? So this one is Scars of Honor. It's going to be, there's going to be a demo coming out in the spring, hopefully next month or the month after. That'll be free to play. And then in Q3, if no delays happen, they're going to go into early access, which will also be completely free to play. And then they'll maybe launch their 1.0 next year, potentially. And it'll also still be free to play. So yeah, they did do a Kickstarter. It failed and they were able to continue funding. And this is where we're at. So you want to take my advice / criticism for people who specialize in certain aspects of the game. I wouldn't want people who only play PvP dictating how PvE goes and vice versa. No, exactly. Like I think when it comes to PvE, like I feel like I have way more of what I know. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to PvE because I've done it for so long. Like I've literally done it for like 20 years in World of Warcraft. I've done all the dungeons. I've done all the raids. I've done all the quests. I've done, like, I know what I like, what I don't like, and I have a good grasp on that whole side of systems. It's hard for me to talk about PvP because I feel it's very disingenuous because I am not really a PvPer at heart, and rather the people that have like an actual passion for those systems, like how I have a passion with PvE, those people should be giving the feedback on the PvP side of things. Now, again, there could be some things that Vinland, that Dolan might even talk to Vinland about one day, and they'll both agree, and I'll be like, I don't like that decision. But guess what? I'll fucking live with it because you want to know something? World of Warcraft hasn't been perfect for me in a fucking long time, and I've still fucking played that damn game. So I think there's also a level of people that are trying to get the perfect MMO, which you'll never find. Like you'll never, ever, ever get the perfect MMO. There's always going to be systems. There's going to be aspects of the game that aren't going to be to your liking. Does that mean you should just stop playing entirely? No, you should still give it a try because the other parts could actually still be really, really fun and good. Let me see. So that's my thing. I put too much thought into it. You can ask Vladis how much I put into Ashes of Creation's PvP and corruption systems and how angry I would get with the flaws. Yes, I can attest to that. When people are done with all the PvE content, they will move on until more PvE content comes. PvP is what really keeps the MMO alive, in my opinion, because players come back every day for more battles. I mean, that's definitely true when it comes to open world PvP, or even when it comes to like leaderboards or arenas, battlegrounds, all that stuff. And again, I think they should do rankings. They should do leaderboards. And there is a discussion to be had on open world PvP. I just don't know if I'm the one that needs to have that discussion. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm the one that should be leading the charge on that discussion. You know what I'm saying? The perfect MMO is the friends that we make along the way. Absolutely, brother. 100% agree. Let me see. I'm going to have to check it out. Is there much out on it? Has anyone played it and felt combat yet? Sorry if it's talked about a lot. Just hearing it for the first time. No, Dan, you're totally good, dude. So the demo, there have been probably people that have played it because there was a playable version about 2 years ago in 3 years ago in 2023. But this is going to have like a brand new, so if you see here, so this is the Paladin class. This is the fucking talent tree, dude. So Vinland, who is the creative director of Scars of Honor, he's also the CEO. He actually started this project by himself, and ended up getting a whole team behind him and now make it into what it was. Originally, the classes were going to be very WoW based. So each class was going to have like specializations, sort of like how Hunter has like Beastmaster, Marksman, and Survival. But they got rid of that in Scars. And now every single class will have a 270 node talent tree. Now, every class will have its own 270 node talent tree. The other thing is that you will only be able to pick one of the 6 starting nodes. So you start here, and your first point you can pick any of the 6, but once you pick one, you can't pick another. Okay. But as an example goes, let's say I wanted to do this one, but I said, fuck it, I'm going to pick this ability here. I can still hit this node here, 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 here. And because since I can't go here, I can still actually go around, get this node, and then go back up and go up here. I just want to have this ability. So once I choose a spot, I can still carve a path out to even go into a different direction than where I probably should have gone. Does that make sense? And this is why I fucking love these kinds of talent trees. The possibilities of hybridism, of you being a tank, but actually, because of your gear, I can actually forego certain defensives because I have really fucking good gear. And now I can hybridize myself into like more of a healer or more into a fighter, like a DPSer. So imagine like gladiator stance as a warrior in World of Warcraft. That doesn't exist anymore, but you could potentially have that in Scars, you know? There are talent trees that Vinland has talked about of literally changing your actual gear specialization. So in Scars, just like in World of Warcraft, like if you're a warlock in WoW, you can only ever have cloth armor. Like you'll never have leather, mail, plate, whatever the case is. But there are talents choices on your tree as a necromancer, because necromancers and Scars are cloth based, that you could actually change from cloth to heavy. And now you're going to become a death knight because now you're going to be wearing plate armor instead of light armor. That shit is fucking cool. You know what I'm saying? Like the possibilities are crazy to me. And I don't want to get too crazy because I can get fucking crazy, but I just want to see what this tree is really capable of. Like all of the potential augments to not only your spells, but to your classes, to your gear, set bonuses, fucking a bunch of shit, dude. Like it's going to be really fucking cool. Let me see talents that augment your class. Tab 64. Wait, wrong, dude. Oh, dude, I am so glad I don't ever have to talk about that 64 fucking class system ever again. You have no idea. Anybody that followed me, I hated that system. I fucking hated it. And it's so nice for me to talk about a fucking class system that I can 100% get behind. Because this shit, oh my God, this shit could be fucking amazing. This shit could be fucking cool. The talent trees are honestly a big driving factor for me wanting to play PvP in this game. Love fast build options for counters to metas. Though that's the thing too, especially in trees like this, I think the cool factor that this is going to be an MMORPG, because you will have guides that, hey, this is the best build that I found for Necromancer. It doesn't mean that this is the definitive best overall fucking build, but you just had a person that find out what worked for them. But just like in Path of Exile, you're going to have people that are going to make a video of a particular build in Scars, and there's going to be people that are like, oh, I see how they're doing it. And then you're going to have like, hey, if you're getting pounced or trounced on this particular build, I'm giving you their counter build to fight against them or to like fight against this particular class or whatever. This is going to fucking happen. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. Like to me, I get really excited when I see this kind of shit. Let me see. I feel you, brother. PoE has the same build hybridization. Those who don't want to min-max will have fun. However, those who want to min-max go for the same solved meta build. Well, that's what I mean, right? You're going to have people that don't want to go into the whole math calculations of all the fucking nodes, right? And I get that. But the people that really do enjoy that shit are going to have a fucking field day with it. And that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited to see this and how it actually like pans out. Because I think this talent tree could actually be one of the biggest draws of people potentially playing Scars of Honor. Everywhere else could be mid, right? Mid questing, mid dungeons, mid raids, but fuck, the combat's amazing, and the classes, the abilities, and how you can hybridize and customize are just beyond what I've played in other MMOs. It's just boom. And that's what I'm like super excited about. So yeah. Best build found is such an amazing thing because it leaves it open for something better. Well, exactly, right. And that's not even accounting for tuning, right? Like that's the other part about it, right? Is the fact that like you can have an ability that's like it feels so satisfying and good, but it's like okay. And then you'll have like a patch that comes out and it's like, hey, we actually buffed that particular ability by like 5%, or we actually like stealth buffed like these passives along with that ability by like 9%, you know, and now it's like it's going to shift all the shit around for certain classes, right? Like, and the fact that you're going to have not only like 20 to 25 abilities that are all baked in to this talent tree in all these different spots, but you also have the passives that can augment those abilities, right? That can change how those abilities work entirely. Like that's in this talent tree. Like I've seen it in their fucking videos. Like it's crazy. So number of skills points up to max level. They have not talked about it. So right now they said numbers are all still up in the air. They did say that level 50 will be the max level for this game, but they are not sure if they want to just give you 50 talent points to play with. They actually might considering giving us more talent points, like maybe 70 points. Maybe even 100 points. But they did say that they don't want you to go, of course, like go everywhere, right? They want you to only be able to go into certain portions of the tree and that's it. Everywhere else is kind of locked off. And I agree with that. Like, and I think it's going to be interesting to see like what is a good number of points. Is it 70? Is it 60? Is it, you know, what is it? And this is also in conjunction of the SCAR system, which is another vertical progression system. And so I have my whole thing. I want to save that for my video of like what I want them to do when it comes to that. But yeah, it's going to be a very hairy thing to balance, but I am all for it, man. Like, look, as long as they can understand that you're never really going to balance it, you're only going to try to do your best. I think fixing outliers is where they should start personally. Because what I find is always getting the nerf bat out and just like being kind of the fun police. And it's like, oh, like I understand like truly broken abilities, right? Or damages, or you're just one-shotting somebody. I get that, right? That needs to be nerfed. Jaeger, thank you so much for the follow, man. Thank you. But when something is just like, it feels so much fun to play and it's not like one-shotting people, like don't just nerf it. You know what I mean? Like there needs to be some other like you know, buffing defensives or like meeting people like in the middle kind of thing. So I don't know, like there's just gonna have to be stuff that they're gonna have to do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that was key. How much points on skills needed to feel amazing. Yes, that I think is going to be the biggest factor, because if you're going to have almost 300 plus nodes, I think 50 might actually be too little. Right. But I think it's finding that sweet spot is going to be key for sure. Like whether that's 70, 75, 80, because there's always going to be, you're always going to want more. Like, oh, if I had 5 more points, that would be amazing, right? Like if I can get 5 more points, because then I'll have this, you know, this new ability that I want, or this like change the ability that I want, or this change the class that I want. And I just need 5 more points to get there. But, you know, and again, it's like, you're gonna have to sacrifice. Like, well, what points would you want to take away, or what would you want to do? You know, like, I don't know. It's just, to me, I look at this and I get super excited. But guys, I'm going to go ahead and go. My head's starting to hurt, so I'm just going to chillax for a little bit. How large is Beast Burst? Do you know how often they will release new content expansions for the game? So they're not a big team. I think they said like about 100 developers, which I think is pretty good for, you know, a team. And, you know, this is why their MMO isn't crazy ambitious either. I think their systems are very much just like, they're only going to release, like, I think with like 1 continent, a couple of zones, and dungeons, raids, up to level 50, quests, mounts, gathering, crafting. That's it. Like there's not a lot to this game. So I don't think it's going to be that kind of craziness of like scope. You know what I mean? So but I think the craziness is really within the talent trees for sure. But guys, thank you all so much for coming on, hanging out with me. I really do appreciate the show up. And I am so sorry, YouTube, that I did not have the fucking, because I'm using a different chat window so I can see both YouTube and Twitch. And for some fucking reason, the toggle for YouTube was off and I was only getting Twitch comments. So I am so fucking sorry. That's a lot. At least they don't have any external developers from the Philippines. Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, they are from Bulgaria. But yeah, like I said, I just appreciate the fact that this is zero money. Like there's nothing you have to pay. There's no investment. Just watch it from afar, or just watch me and I'll watch it from afar for you. And we'll test this shit out. You know what I mean? But that's the one thing that I appreciate from this particular one, that it's free, all fucking free. The demo will be free. Early access will be free. The launch will be free. And I think that should be a big, like, fuck, what the fuck do I got to lose other than just my time? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I like free too. Guys, thank you all so much for coming on, hanging out with me. I didn't tell you all this in the beginning, but I don't know if I'm going to stream every day. I think streaming every day kind of got me into some funk. And also just, I want to hang out with my wife and do stuff with her. And so, but I think what I am going to do is stream potentially on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And then I might stream either Saturday or Sunday. So I think right now what I might do is see how I'm feeling on Saturdays and Sundays. I might have the whole weekend off, but I think I might just stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays and just do that. You know what I mean? But, oh bro, I am done with baby making. Now, the practice of baby making, I'm all for, but no more babies. No more babies. I am done with babies. But I just want to say that. But thank you all so much for coming and hanging out. It was actually really fun getting back into it, talking scars. And yeah, we'll see what probably on Wednesday. I want to get into either playing Arcade Classic again or Quinfall. I want to get back into one of those games. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, y'all have a good one. I'll see you all on Wednesday. Peace.